back to the longest vacation in Hit.Or.Die history. It's been like 6 months, so if not longer. But I want to wish everybody a welcome back, and everybody's favorite guest, Josh Labandeira in the house, making the drive. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Super, man, super. And I don't know about everybody's favorite, but it's nice getting on here.
Come on, bro. Everybody loves it when you're on here.
I have,
Chad and I have always loved having you on. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe. If you're listening, please follow. Leave a comment, 5 stars, all that good stuff. It's been a minute though. I missed a lot of shit.
Yeah, giraffe.
We've had the draft. Series. We've had the world. We got a new president coming in, number 47.
Yeah, man.
Missed out on a lot of opportunities to talk baseball, just anything. So it's nice to be back. It's funny. I've been getting a lot of messages, and a lot of people were hitting me up, just asking what's going on, if we're going and starting, and I'll kind of get into kind of why it slowed down or stopped or whatever. But
no doubt.
Before we get in there, you got a camp you're coming up here with the Compound, Zach Colby, yourself, Marcus Walden, Brian Oliver, taking place, January 3rd through the 5th at Washington Union. There's 2 age groups. Group A is 8 to 12. Camp B is 13 to 18. Again, Washington Union, January 3rd through the 5th. The only thing they didn't show me on that flyer was where to sign up.
Yeah, I think another one's coming, but it should be a pretty good little camp. I mean, you've got 4 guys that have been around for a little bit. Everybody's played, different areas, had different experiences. And those guys are highly involved in baseball, and Brian's scouting out for the Rangers, and Marcus is running around, and with Zach having the Compound, like I think a lot more kids need to go to camps. Trust me, like I'm going out, I'm watching you guys. I that's what I do for a living. I evaluate, man. It's not just this area; it's every area. People need to start working on their actual skill. You stick out more when you have good skill, because not a lot of people have good skill or fundamentals anymore. So when you go and you see a kid that can do that, he jumps out at you. But most of the time these kids are just, honestly, man, they're just worried about swinging the bat, which I know that has a lot of value, but you can't have 9 DHs. It might be an extra way to get you in the lineup. So, I drive by a lot of fields, and I see a lot of batting practice going on, but I don't see a lot of guys. I mean, shit. I mean, even if you're a shortstop, and it's not your round, go out to short, get balls live off the bat. If you're an outfielder, there's no better place for you to get live repetitions and balls off the bat than in BP. So, yeah, man. I think it's going to be a cool opportunity for us to kind of share some knowledge, just some stuff that we've acquired, but some of the good baseball people that we've been around that shared stuff with us. So
you said something kind of interesting.
It'll be cool
right there with playing, taking balls at another position that maybe you're not used to or comfortable at. Is there an age to where you think you could focus more on one specific spot? Like, you got age groups here from 8 to 12. There's no reason for any of those kids to be limited to one position. All those kids should be playing everywhere on the diamond and learning a skill.
I always laugh when, I know everybody wants to play short and everybody wants to, be in the middle of the diamond, but man, 8 to 12, dude, play everywhere.
Learn them all.
Learn them all, man. It doesn't hurt. Be a Swiss Army knife on the diamand, man.
As you develop and grow, you kind of get limited.
It's just going to open more doors for you, man.
Sure. Right.
Especially if you can play in the middle. Yeah, it's nice to hear everybody wants to play shortstop. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I played short, loved it, had a nice little run at it. But you got to have some versatility now. I mean, just look at the big league level. I mean, look at all these guys that are playing multiple positions, and that's value. So you want to have some value, take more pride in your gloves.
I think Tommy Edmonds a good example of that.
100%. Kid out of Stanford, played shortstop the whole time. Didn't, he played short a little second, but now you look at him, he's playing all over the field.
And it was productive offensively, so they find a way to keep you in the lineup. I mean, it's the more versatile you are, you can hit but have nowhere to play. Like you said, there's not 9 DHs.
No, man, and you don't want 9 DHs. Like it's nice to have 9 dudes that can roll the pole, but you got to have guys that can get outs and make routine plays. It's not Derek Jeter 6-hole jump throws. Like actually just making a fundamental baseball play, routine ground balls. Don't be booting them. Be accurate.
Well, it's not
accurate
just
with your
like
throws.
you guys aren't going out. It's not all right. We're just going to start. Like there's some instruction involved, right?
That's exactly
pre-pitch
what's going on.
instruction. There's knowing where we're going, knowing
There's
what,
a lot of things.
a lot of anticipation. It's that I think that's what the other thing. Like it's not just going and taking swings, and it's not just going and taking ground balls. There's a little classroom work to it. I think
There has to be purpose to everything you're doing. Like, why am I doing the backhand? Oh, maybe it's not because you're not staying down and through the ball good enough, or maybe your footwork isn't good enough. Which, most of the kids struggle with footwork. Like they think they have good footwork, and the other thing that I see too is a lot of guys are talented, and I wouldn't say talented at a younger age. They're just bigger. They're bigger than the field. They're able to out hit the field. And as they get older, sometimes they don't work as hard. They think they work hard because they have success. Well, success doesn't mean you're working hard, dude. So you got to keep. That's why you never.
Well, and somebody's probably working harder,
right? And that's
so
why
you're going to get passed up at some point. Nobody's got to figure it out.
But that's why you never sleep on that dude that might be a little skinny but a little bit weak, but he does everything kind of right. Oh man, this guy's got pretty good footwork. He's a little bit weak right now. And then, as they get in their mid-teens and later teens, these guys' bodies start popping, and now the strength starts to arrive, and you're like, holy shit, this dude's a whole different player because now he has strength. And then that kid that's bigger, typically, man, he gets passed up. So you gotta, I don't know, man. You gotta keep all edges of your blade sharp, man.
Well, and I also think if you're going to one person, you're getting one. I don't want to call it like ideology, but like one philosophy, one mindset of how this guy does things. Whereas a camp, especially something like this, where you have 2 scouts, guys play in the big leagues. Yeah. You get different perspectives and things maybe you don't see that Marcus will see. I don't know. I just feel like the camp's a good way to go to and staying sharp. I agree with you. Like, I don't know. I just feel like you get fixated on going to one person. You're always hearing the same thing. I don't know. It's just.
You got to be coachable, man. I mean, you got to learn how to hear things in a different language.
Or expose yourself to other ideas or other philosophies, if you will.
Yes, 100%. I mean, that's just part of growing. And I mean, I always tell kids, dude, be a sponge, man. Absorb the information. You can filter out and squeeze out what you don't want or may not pertain to your game per se. But, dude, be a sponge. Absorb the information. I know when I give lessons, like a group setting, like I want, if I have 2-3 kids working, I want the other 2 kids standing by the cage watching the kid hit, and listening to the type of instruction I'm saying. Now, that's stuff that they can start picking up on too. And, they might identify something that they may be doing just by.
Especially if they're teammates.
Yeah. And, if they're watching another kid, it's just part of learning, man. Part of growing and part of being a ball player.
Yeah, no, this, so yeah, again, the compound camp, January 3rd through 5th. I would check the compound social media. I'm sure Zach Colby, you can reach out to personally to get information on how to sign up for it. Also, Fresno State's having their youth camp coming up. I think 3 this month as well. Starting, I think, the 27th and 28th. Go to gobulldogs.com for Fresno State Baseball's youth camp. And then I got to shout out my buddy here. Great White Woodworks. I've been slacking on this, and obviously we haven't done a lot of podcasts recently, but Cody White is a former Clovis High Cougar, now in the bat game. Great White Woodworks does his own wood bat company. He's got some really cool stuff. Sent me a hat. I've been wanting to shout him out, just haven't done this. So greatwhitewoodworks.com is the website. Please check him out. Again, a local guy, not in the Valley anymore. I think it's out of Folsom now, but making some pretty cool stuff. Definitely check him out. I got to try to get him on here to talk some wood bat game, kind of the process. And it's an interesting deal. We went down to Trinity Wood Bat Company in Fullerton when we first started this, and that was a pretty cool trip just to go see the factory, how they do it. They were spinning some Corey Seager's bats while we were there, so it was pretty cool. It's just a neat industry, but definitely check out greatwhitewoodworks.com. And like I said earlier, man, we missed a lot of stuff locally in this Central Valley. I can't not bring up my co-host, friend, buddy, yeah, it's been a weird situation, but this is part of why I haven't done a lot of the podcast as well. My buddy, my good friend here, my co-host, Chad Rothford, had been let go about a month and a half ago from Justin Garza High School. And had a lot to say about it when it happened. And as it's played out, I think everybody's posted on it. We've had coaches talk about it, kids talk about it. And to this day, there's still no justifiable reason as to why. And I don't, I don't know administrations that well. I know that they've had a lot of issues at Garza with 3 principals. I think the AD's now stepped down. There was issues within some other parts of the program. But essentially, Chad was holding some kids accountable, and parents got in the way, as they tend to do. And pretty much everything that I've seen online posted is what happened. It's sad because, Roth jumped in that thing 150% and was, this fall was really good. And I was excited for him only because he was excited. He was excited about the young group coming up. He had gotten a couple kids back, or a certain couple players back, and his energy was high. Like, he was, Roth, if he jumps into something, man, it's all the way. And he was jumped in all the way. And now they're going to be moving on to their 3rd coach in 3 years. And I just think it's a disaster over there. You've let go of a couple good baseball guys that, it's hard to find coaches, period, but to find baseball guys that are willing to sacrifice their time from their families. I think you lost another guy that was committed to the kids and not to the admin, and he lost. And it sucks. It's just sad to see, considering the kids are the most important part of any school, any school you go to. They're students before they're athletes, and just how all that shit went down, and to not discuss it with the players or parents, it's a rough deal. And he was pretty crushed, and he's still upset about it. And I just if people knew what he went through even just to get the job, most of yeah, and a lot of people probably would have just bailed on it. I've had calls that like, what's he doing? He's still going out. And yeah, 5 or 6 interviews, just some of the stuff that happened in-house, which led to kind of the podcast being put on hold. And I don't have any problem saying it. Like, he was just told if he does it, he's fired.
Yeah, that's...
And which bothered me about that was that you would see, like, Coach Biggs, the football coach, go on ESPN radio, or the basketball coaches at Central, or the football, Coach Ferris would go, and it was like, those guys aren't threatened to being fired.
No doubt.
And then, so I did it. I asked the admin the proper channels. I emailed and said, hey, I'd like to have the guy that I do this show with as a guest on the show since he got hired. And I got ignored. Like, they just ignored. I don't know. It's a real shit show over there. And ultimately, it's probably a blessing in disguise for Chad. But the kids are paying the price. And that's who I feel bad for the most. Good group of kids coming back this year. He loved them, man. That's what hurts.
Yeah. He was doing a good job. I don't know the ins and outs. It's unfortunate to lose a good baseball guy. I know his passion for the game. I don't know all the administrative side of stuff or whatnot, but he had, I had some of his kids play on my scout team. I always ask them about him. They always spoke highly, always were excited. He is a very passionate guy. And like I said, anytime you lose a real kind of, a baseball guy, man, it kind of hurts. It hurts your area a little bit. They brought Jake in. I think Jake will do a good job. Jake's a good baseball coach too. Hey man, like every program, they all beat at a different pace, man, different beat. So, to each their own.
It's funny. How long do you think like a guy like Pappy would last in an environment like that? Like, Pappy is intense.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, you don't know. Like, honestly, we don't know like exactly all this. I don't know this.
Yeah, I don't want to get all it,
but no, I think everybody handles things differently, and you just hate to see a guy like that. Every time you look up, he was doing something fundraiser. had different logos. Just, I mean, he loves doing it, designing uniforms.
Yeah, dude. He wants the kids looking like sharp and
live version of NCAA baseball at his control. Like he's out there, like instead of playing the joystick game, like he's really designing uniforms and putting players in spots and working with guys. And I think it's a passion he has. I hope he doesn't lose that fire. And I know his son.
It's hard, man. But it's deflating. Like
no doubt.
And he's given a lot to the game locally. In a couple different schools. And I know people have their opinions on the guy and have their thoughts. And
no doubt,
I'm sure there's people that were, there's the haters out there that were probably excited to see it and all. And that's fine. I mean, listen, I can tell you for a fact, hands down, knowing the whole situation, like. There's been other people in this area that have lost their jobs that, like, this doesn't even sniff. It's not even. It's nothing. This whole thing was nothing. It's kind of surprising, and seemed personal. And it was started like again back in the interview process. And I was happy that he stuck through it, and I just know how excited he was going into the season. But I just kind of wanted to mention it. It's kind of why I've stayed away from it. It's fun to do it with Chad. Obviously having you and Marcus and getting guys like Loop and just, a lot of good baseball guys in here. It's fun to talk, but so I don't know where he goes from here. Hopefully, like you said, I hope he doesn't lose that passion from it. And I'm sure there'll be other opportunities. And it was nice to even see Coach Batesel, come out on his behalf and just talk about Fresno State. They tried to get Chad there 2 straight seasons and it just couldn't make it work. And, was having a child during one time. So, but it was nice to see Coach Bates kind of stick out there for him. And, but yeah, it's kind of why I stayed in the cut. And after that Buchanan stuff with Gloss and I don't know, man, just wore me out. Like
high school athletics, man.
It is, dude. And it made it hard to come back and like get fired up and talk about stuff because a lot of people, while they liked the take, it's just kind of ideas that you got to deal with, things that you say that you got to deal with. But I've been getting hit up a lot the last like 3 weeks, and I was at a football game and I couldn't even get to my seat, dude. People kept asking about the podcast. So I was like, hey, Lab, let's fire it up.
That's right.
Dogs, another coaching change in there. Like it seems like the summer of coaching changes. And it didn't seem like it sit well with a lot of the football alumni, but Fresno State has now Coach Matt Entz taken in for interim Coach Skip. And, you guys you're alumni, one, and I think you were around when Skip played. But the baseball program saw something similar when Bates came in.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to go through it. I mean, for sure. Like, there's going to be alumni that are upset. And I know a lot of alumni are friends with Skip. So, a lot of people are pulling for him. You hate to see, I can't say it's like 50-50. Like, you hope that the direction they go is successful and they're able to maintain the support, the boosters, the alumni. But they're going to go through a little bit of struggle with it. I mean, that's just normal. I think it happens in a lot of places where there's a little pushback from alumni, especially when it doesn't necessarily go the direction that they would like to. So hopefully Bulldog football doesn't take too big of a hit. I mean, just, dude, all of college athletics is kind of a shit show right now. It's like a carousel of coaches changing all the time. You've got players. I mean, we got players that aren't even going to play in a bowl game. I mean, you got a whole team that jumped in the transfer portal when their coach left. Like how much fun is watching college football when it's bowl season now? I mean, this portal's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's just really unfortunate. And you see how everybody's so excited about committing. Dude, committing, it's not shit anymore.
When you're going to end up at 3 schools in 4 years.
You're going to end up in 3-4 schools. You're never going to find the right place. It's not perfect. Like, dude, it's called adversity, man. Deal with adversity. You don't like not playing, work harder. Plain and simple, man. It's like, I don't know what happened to this generation it's like you just jump and run away from adversity. Like, no, dude, you got to sit down and like nobody's going to give you shit anymore.
Well, it's not supposed to be easy.
No, it never was.
Like it was. I just remember always thinking, oh man, I was just thinking about this. It's funny. Like I was probably like a freshman in high school and I had these delusional thoughts of I'm going to get drafted someday. I'm going to be.
I mean, you're dreaming, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'll be.
Kid.
By the time I'm a junior, I realized I haven't grown much in 2 years.
Right.
I'm slower. Yeah, becoming a D1 athlete is not easy.
Right.
It is not for everybody.
No, and it's like, I keep saying, oh, this guy, I'm the hardest working dude. Man, I hate to break people's hearts, but there's thousands and thousands of young men out there working hard. There's thousands and thousands of young men hitting in a cage on a Sunday. Like, I don't know where everybody kind of thinks they're the only ones that work hard. Like, dude, you want to make it, you're going to work hard. All the ones that make it, work hard.
What does Saban say? It takes what it takes.
Dude, you're just following the normal process. You're not doing anything extra or special that anybody else isn't. You're just doing the normal process, man. It's normal. You're not special. Like I heard, somebody, oh, this guy's special. You're not special. Is he the first pick in the draft? Well, no, then he's not special. So, like, dude, just go out and work. Fly below the radar. Somebody will notice you, and work hard, man. Like, the tools have to match as well. Like, so just go out and work hard, man. Work hard. Do what you do. People take notice, man. You don't have to tell everybody how hard you're working. That's kind of expected. So, I mean, I hate to it sound like I'm being a dick, but it's just honesty, man. Like, you're really not outworking anybody. Like, I see a lot of kids that work really, really hard. We try to throw them a lot of money. So, look, man, just go out and grind, dude. Go out and work hard.
Yeah, back to and stalking with the coaching stuff. Like, you were an alumni of that baseball program, and you got to play for Coach Bennett right as he was getting transitioned or pushed out or whatever you want to call it. What happened.
Right.
And I remember, because I was in high school at the time, like I remember hearing like Coach Rupchich is kind of like the skipper thing, like
similar.
Coach Rupchich is next. And by the way, I saw him a week ago, and the guy looks phenomenal. He was walking 18 holes.
Hellfire had a baby,
dude.
On fire, had a baby.
He's the man.
Yeah, Coach
Rupchich is the man.
Iron Mike, man, absolute machine. BP, he'd like to tie you up every now and then. Was, try to keep everybody loose. Just always enjoyed conversations with Coach Rupchich. Just a really, really good, special man. A good coach, man. Really enjoyed him.
And I think people of that alumni were. I don't think it was so much a hate for hiring Coach Batesel.
No,
it was more of this guy was here 30 years,
right?
And
it wasn't the smoothest of transitions,
right?
Let's just say it like that. It wasn't like he was welcomed with open arms. And you're going to go through that, especially when you're bringing in somebody that has not been affiliated with the program for as long as maybe some assistants might have. So you're already going to get some brushback. And man, it does kind of suck because Skip was playing linebacker when I was at Fresno State. So watch him as a player. And he carried the same passion coaching that he had as a player. The dude was undersized. He played in the middle.
Yeah.
And he made the most of everything he had. And you kind of root for guys like that, especially when they're coaching. So, man, he's going to land on his feet. Dude's going to land up in another D1 coaching. He'll have success because that's what kind of guy he is.
Yeah, you would love to see Bulldogs coaching Bulldogs. That's what college programs can pull that off. Not many, if any, at all.
Right.
Let alone our baseball program being again. We were in that spot last year. I remember Chad and I've talked about this on Watch Your Lips.
What's that?
Just if Chad and I really pushed for Ovi, not just because we're friends. I like Ovi as a baseball guy, and I think he was very capable of taking over the program and having success. And thus far, he's done that. But if he wouldn't have been hired, I wouldn't have been I'm not a dog anymore.
Right.
Like that, when I see you're putting that shit out in black and white, and in a couple weeks, once the dust settles and you get back to your senses, you're probably going to regret saying that you're not a dog anymore, that you don't support the dog. Would you ever not support?
No, you just get emotional.
And I get that. I get that.
And if you look at it, what's the ultimate passion is being a Bulldog. It's not necessarily your ultimate passion with who the head coach is. You have passion with the school, with the logo.
Right, and those programs are bigger than any individual.
Absolutely. So, I mean, look, Coach Bates came in, he won a national championship, dude. You could say the best player in baseball played for him. He played right here at Fresno State. Dude, he won numerous conference championships, just like Coach Bennett did. They were both great coaches during their era. Bates won a lot of games. Coach Bennett won a lot of games.
But we've been spoiled to have longevity.
We've had, think about
Pat
it.
Hill and Sweeney.
Now Ovi comes in, and Ovi's a quiet guy, man. He's not going to be out in the spotlight.
No.
Like he's doing a great job, in my opinion. He's targeting the local kids that he thinks are dogs, and he's going after them. He's going after the better junior college talent. Like they're hitting the transfer portal. Like they're doing the things they need to do with, what they have available to do it with. Murph's going to have a great season. I'm anticipating he's going to go really high. Hopefully, he's a Red Sox at the end of the year.
That'd be sick.
I would love to draft
sure.
Murph. And maybe Anchor comes on strong, and Cremarosa and the writing, and they've got some guys, and they've got some nice newcomers that are going to contribute.
I'm excited to see Cam Schneider get after it. I think he's going to get some more opportunity this year. Mm-hmm. Another local guy. It was fun to watch in high school. I was glad he became a dog, but you're right. The local guy, I think, is a big component to that.
You got to I think that's the one thing that Ovi really does. He's trying to own in that area, man. Like try to keep our players here, and maybe one or two might from our area sneak off, but he's been able to get some of them back, which I think is important. And just like I said, man, the landscape and the way college baseball is right now, it's really scary. It's like I said, man, what's a commitment anymore? Dude, like, I see everybody like, oh, we have like 30, 40 commitment. Well, that's awesome, man. Like, why don't you post when they finish at the same place? That should be a even more of an accomplishment,
right?
As opposed, everybody commits nowadays. Like, I'm dead serious, man. It's not that big of, in my opinion, like, hey, man, that's awesome. I think that's cool. You have a home for next year, but dude, you better go do something when you're there. Otherwise, you're going to kind of be back in the same situation. Man, you just got to do your research and man, it's hard for me to tell guys to like walk past free junior college baseball when you got guys like Coach Purse and Jody and Mitch, the three local guys. Like, dude, why would you leave those guys? I mean, between Jody and Steve, they've coached a lot of shortstops. They've coached a lot of D1 All-Americans. Jody after they left. So, hey man, like
guys that pathway's been to the big leagues through those places.
Mitch is in the hotbed. Fresno City's been a monster school for years.
Well, and just coming back from the Cape.
Yeah, he's coaching the Cape. Like, why, man? You got to hook up to go to the Cape maybe in summer ball. You're playing for Coach Purse, who's going to teach you tons about baseball and turn you into a man. And same with Jody.
Mitch also connected with USA Baseball,
and
like
it's free.
Yeah.
Like it's free. Like, you leave one situation to go to a place that's got 48 dudes on the roster. Like, man, like it's going to be really hard, dude. So you better, pack a lunch and bring a lantern, put your hard hat on, because you're going to be there all day long.
And dude. I know we've killed this probably in the past, and it's been so long. Like I said, we've only done 4 episodes this year. And
what's that, travel ball?
No. No, I was talking to Coach Underwood, Andy,
right,
the other day, and he brought up how he was not, if he would have gone to Fresno State right out of Madera High School, he would have gotten destroyed.
Same with me.
And the 2 years at City, while they're not as intense as a weight program, but the season, the grind of JUCO baseball gave him a little bit of, prepared him a little bit for that D1 when he got there.
Yeah, it's like, man, like it's such, you granted going back when Andy and I, like, because I was in the same boat, I could have walked on at Fresno State out of high school, but the more like I actually thought about it and like looked at like what was out in front of me and who was there, and just, man, you got to look at your maturity level too. And I mean, I thought I was pretty mature, but probably Andy did too. And then you go to junior college and you're like, holy shit, there's some pretty good players out here, man. Like, I'm going to have a hard time starting.
Yeah.
Like, man, I honestly, man, I didn't even start at shortstop in junior. I started in right field. And then I'm sure Andy went through it too. Like, you're facing the better high school guys that might not have gone off to D1, that might be short on a tool here or there, but are pretty good players. That in 2 years, they might turn into something pretty good. A pitcher might be able to really spin a curveball and has a fast arm. Well, he doesn't throw a lot of strikes. Well, now that guy has an opportunity to pitch every week, log innings, face hitters, and develop. Like, you go to D1 and you're not throwing strikes, dude. You're not pitching. like period. And that's just the way
What if
it
you're
is.
throwing 98?
It doesn't matter if you're throwing 98. Like, I see it all the time. Hey, how come so-and-so ain't throwing duty? I haven't thrown a strike.
Say that
in 2
again. It
weeks.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you're
Okay.
throwing 98 and you're not throwing strikes in college. Like, you'll be in the transfer portal, I promise. What do you think's in the transfer portal? Guys with a bunch of good ERAs and command? Nah, man, it's the guys that probably don't throw a lot of strikes. You see it every year, man. See it every year. Guys transferring, and you're like, oh, this guy's throwing hard. Then you go back and look at the stats, and you're like, ooh, he's got a really high walk rate. So it explains why. The portal explains a lot, man. You just go do your research. You look at stats. You look at maybe they didn't pitch a lot. Well, it's probably because they don't throw strikes, man. And if you're a hitter and you don't have a lot of stats, it's probably because you weren't a very good hitter last year. You didn't, you can say it was opportunity this. Maybe very few times are you stuck behind All-American, man. Very few times. So, you just, like I keep saying, man, you got to get
this sounds like common sense.
It should be, but everybody, you talk to everybody's travel ball coach. This guy's a plus bat. Plus bat. Do you even know what that is? Like, oh, this guy's got a plus fastball. What's a plus fastball? He's throwing 90. Well, that's not a plus fastball no more, bud. That's a 3 fastball on my scale. So, it's a lot like how the media is a lot of misinformation,
Yeah.
a lot of the information they're giving benefits their own organization more than it actually benefits the kid, because now they're able to market that kid that, oh, I got this guy here, I got that guy there, and no, man, it just creates, man, it's a business, dude.
It's a money thing.
It's a business, man.
It's kind of wild to see.
It's no different than your personal trainers, man. If you have a personal trainer that's too big that can't be there when you're actually personal training, that's not your dude, man. I'm sorry. I don't care. He's not selling no tricks, nothing. Before you start gloating about who you've committed, and maybe you should have at least one class that's gone through and finished somewhere before you're excited about
where they've gone.
Yeah, where they're going. So just kind of.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought that too. Like, because there's a lot of guys out here doing instruction and lessons, and a lot of good guys, a lot of guys I don't know about or know much about, but I always kind of the mindset of, there's 40, 50 guys going to one dude, and yet I'm like, well, why is this guy? I like this guy, and this guy's only got 10. I
don't think anybody looks at resumes anymore. Like, just. Dude,
well, okay, here's a great example. I won't name names or anything, but like if there's one place that's got 50, 60 clients and you've got 10, I'm not going to go pay the 50. I'm not going to get the guy with 50. Am I getting his best every single, you know what I mean? The guy at 50 is making a living off this.
For the most part.
The guy with 9, it seems more intimate.
It can be. It just depends on like who the guy is. I know a lot of guys offer like, oh, send me your video. We break it down, and hey, man, that's cool and everything. But if a guy's not like hands on there, like doing stuff with you, dude, like you show up and he gives you something, like, come on, man. There's like,
if there's like a clock in the cage for like it's a therapy session, and when your hour's up, all right, we're done. Like, I want a guy. This guy, fuck it, we're gonna go over 10 minutes because this needs to be hit on right now. We need to.
Right.
And then you need to take this home and get some work.
Everybody has their own ways of administering their lesson.
How long in your mind do you pay this money to an individual to not see maybe the results that you think you should be seeing? Is it 3 months? Is it 5 months? Is it a year?
The swing's hard, man, because there's so much goes into it. Like,
and are you paying that money in the spring? We've talked about this. In the spring, we're not really doing swing changes.
As a parent, you should start seeing some changes in your kid's swing, like good or bad. Like either way, you're gonna start. It should be noticeable. Like if you're there watching and listen, most of the time man, when you're an instructor, you deal with a lot of dads or parents that are like really involved and they're very meticulous. And
they've seen it 100 times.
They want to know everything about a dude's swing and why is he not hitting? And man, like, I don't know. You got to ask him. Like, I'm not in his head when he's in the box.
Right. It's like, not all swing.
Dude, like there's so much more that goes into like helping, not just helping a kid, but in actually the kid going out and performing. It's not on your instructor. Like, dude, you can show the kid all the right things, man. Unless the kids are able to mentally put it all together and go out and execute it, then hey, man, that's part of the growing process. And hopefully throughout the lesson, you're able to teach guys, one, like obviously when you get in game situations, like maybe what you're looking for from it. I do a lot of hitting work. So, hey man, what do we anticipate in certain counts? Like we're trying to hit spin, put them in positions to have success to stay in the middle, but also giving them some game plan of, hey man, these are the drills we do. And so when things start going bad, you don't call me in panic, man. You go out in the cage and you work on a couple things. You film your swing a little bit, go back and watch it. Hey, this looks different than last week. And no different. And like, it's just part of growing and developing, man. Like, it's not solely based on who you work with, dude. Like, you have to take like ownership of your development. 95% of it, I would say, falls upon the player himself and grasping and adapting and learning, and not fighting what you're trying to teach them. A lot of guys just keep reverting back to what they want to do. Why? Because it's comfortable. So, you got to challenge your athletes from time to time. You got to put them in like little awkward, different situations. One, to see how they're going to react. And two, like see if they can work through it. How can they find a way to, one, compete, but not just compete, but win? Like, because like in my mind, hitting is, dude, when you're in the box and like you can execute something, like whether you get a hit or not, like if you're executing what you're trying to execute, that's a W. Like that's like a quality at bat. I think we look in it too much like how hard you hit the ball. No, man, it's like, what does this situation? You try to teach them like,
sure, not all outs are negative moments.
What plays in certain situations, man? What's the scoreboard say? What inning we in? How many outs? Is this guy dealing on the mound, or are we kind of like we got him on the ropes? Like, that might determine whether you're aggressive that first pitch or if you're going to back off and make this guy throw strikes. Like, you have to teach them those type of things too when you're in those teaching environments. Like, it can't just be like all mechanics. Like, you got to talk through at bats, and same thing when you're pitching. Like, you're going to talk through maybe sequences. You're going to talk about setting hitters up, how to change speeds, manipulate locations, manipulating the ball, getting guys to essentially get themselves out, as opposed to me getting everybody out. Like, when pitchers start letting hitters get themselves out, they start having success.
And then they start pitching with some confidence.
Correct. So there's so much more that goes into the private instruction stuff that it's not just whipping through and running each kid that comes through cookie cut routine. Like, you got to teach. Like, you should be trying to teach them. Like,
so like when you see guys that you work with live in a game situation, and how often do you say you watch their on deck routine and see what they're doing on deck and whatever the at bat is, the result's the result. Do you ever go back and say, hey man, like what was your approach right there in on deck circle? I'm watching your on deck approach, and like your result in the box had everything to do with what you were doing in on the deck circle.
Watch it, man. I do this a lot when I scout, but watch the guy, watch the on deck hitter, watch his swings he takes. Like, just watch him. Like, man, the majority of the time, the same swing he takes in that on-deck circle is exactly what he gets when he gets in the box. So, like, you're going to see if a dude yanks out or rolls over or just comes around the ball. And then you see some certain dudes take swings in the on-deck circle. You're like, ooh, this guy might be able to hit a little bit. Like, he's doing the right things with the barrel. And I know that everybody has their own little different routine, but just through my experience and what I've watched, like, and the players I've seen and what they've done, like Hunter Pence looked like a maniac in the on deck circle, and that shit looked the same in the box when he got in the box. So I mean, like matter of fact, like when the Astros were scouting him, they wouldn't let the brass watch him in the on deck circle because they thought that might deter like his ability. Like,
they're going to base the judgment off like, that.
Oh God, it's horrific. But you know what, man? When that dude got in the box, like that funk turned into some shit, buddy. So, but. I watch that all the time on deck hitter, like the guy on deck, like what's his swing look like? Is this guy going to roll out? Like, you start seeing like who just wants to sit back and yank. The dude that opens right up and pulls his hands right across his zone. That guy's probably going to be the same swing.
What were your thought processes? Like, obviously, I'm sure situation with like, runners on or what the game may have dictated differently in those at bats.
The situation, dictated kind of like what your thought process was. It wasn't always to go up there and hit a bomb.
Yeah, it wasn't the same approach every time the on deck
I think
circle.
That's where we're at today. I think every kid goes up there with, we've sold this idea that dude just got to hit it hard, which, hey man, that yes, you have to hit it hard, but you got to find holes, man. Like, dude, I don't care if you sit back and hit 8 balls to shortstop at 106. Like, if those are 6 threes and you're out, you just did nothing to help your club. Like, but now maybe you come up with a runner at third and there's a guy the infield's back and that ground ball to short, that gets you a ribby. So, I mean, just productive outs, man. But going back to like on deck, like you're looking at the situation, like what's going on? Like, Maybe it's the starter. It's the first time you're going to see him, like trying to maybe figure out where his release point's going to be. Watching like what he does when he gets to 2 strikes. What's the first pitch he throws a guy? Like if this guy's a guy that looks like he's starting guys off with fastball, I'm probably going to be pretty aggressive my first at bat and kind of pick a zone and try to attack it. If he doesn't throw it in the zone I'm looking, then hey man, so I'm 0-1. I'll just spit on it and I'll stick with what I'm still looking for. Because essentially most of the time, man, when you're looking for something, you're probably going to get it. Especially if you're looking on the outer third, because man, 80% of the games played out there.
That's where they live.
At least at the lower, high school, 100%, college.
Yes.
You get to the big leagues, like they work more on the inner third, but a lot of those times, those pitches have some purpose. Like they're throwing them in there. These pitchers are able to create a lot of lateral type movement to get in on hands. But most of the time, the game's played on the outer third, and guys are going to feed you something out there. And if you're looking to drive it, you're going to have some success, man. But if you're geared just on the 33% of the field that's to the pull side, then man, it's going to be a long season for you, man. You might run into a couple here and there, but so obviously you're just looking at the situation, man. And then from a mechanical standpoint, making sure like my hands are going to stay through the zone. I'm keeping the barrel through
consistency.
The zone. Yeah. And my swings, and they're going to be they're not going to be blown in, that was how I did. I didn't like to cut it loose or swing like corkscrew myself in the ground getting loose, but just working on my bat path and maybe like just trying to feel like using the ground, what the ground was going to feel like. So.
It sounds kind of, I don't want to say fundamental or basic stuff, but it does, like, these are things that most of the coaches that we know, this stuff gets covered, right?
It's not rocket science,
but I say it, the reason I bring it up is because it's shit that I don't see. Like the communication, right? If you're hitting in the box and you're on, or I'm hitting and you're on deck and you see every pitch of my AB and I come back and you're like, hey, you go over my at bat. Mm-hmm. Is this what you saw here? Is this what you saw here? Just even so you're recognizing it right. Like you're recognizing the spin. And if we're all on the same, and the guy in the hole has the same responsibility, like how important is it to communicate and make sure, hey, we're all seeing the same, or he's pitched, the 2-hitter this way. Again, to me, this is all basic stuff. And again, most of you already do this, but it's just stuff I don't see.
Well, you see a lot of a lot of times watch a game, you see a hitter having at bat, he comes back and, the guy on deck.
Oh, but I mean, it's like his curveball's slow. Well, but the guy on deck should be trying to identify the curveball, and then, hey, that 1-1 pitch, was that a 1-1?
Well, watch a big league game, dude.
Splitter or slider or whatever. Yeah.
There's where all the hitters at, man. They're on the top rail. They're watching. Like, dude, there's so much that goes into hitting. It's not just getting in the box and swinging hard, dude. Like, contact's super important. I know that a lot of people are into like bat speed, and I'm not denying that bat speed's not important. I think it is. But if you can't make contact, your bat speed doesn't play, man. It's just like hitting a long drive a long ways, but if it's not in the fairways, you're in the tree line all the time, like awesome. But you got to make it's like, I mean, seriously, contact's so important. I think that we've kind of sold ourselves short and bought so much into the bat speed. And like, oh, it's okay to swing and miss. Like, dude, I never swung the bat to swing and miss. I swung the bat to hit the ball, to get a hit. I didn't give a shit if it was a 37 hopper in the 4-hole. Like,
that's the purpose of it.
Like
the whole idea is to get on base somehow, and more often than not, it's by a hit.
Every swing, dude. Every swing should match the situation. I tell a lot of kids I work with, we're warming up, and the first one you jump in the cage to warm up with, you drill pull side top spin. Like, why, dude? Let's take it easy, man. Like, let's slow ourselves. We'll get into it easy. Start feeling it. There's got to be some process to it, like thought process.
And these things are important to me. Again, bringing this stuff up, and again, I know it's stuff we've talked about, but it's that time of in the year or season, if you will, where work is.
This is where you should be.
Yes,
working,
and that's
man.
why I want to talk about this stuff.
You shouldn't be playing 3 games on a Sunday at Granite, man. And I don't care like what you tell me. Like, no, it's December 10th, dude. It's 38 degrees. You're running your kid out there for 3 games in cold ass weather. He's probably going to pitch. They need to start looking at like all these kids, like, they never come back and just say like, man, I maybe threw my kid too much in travel ball, like when they were young. Cause I see so many kids get to high school that start having arm issues. Well, you look back at the track record, the history, they've logged more games than big leaguers during the season because they're playing November,
Right.
December. They're playing winter ball, like essentially, and they roll into winter ball straight from fall ball. Like, and I know, you know what it all boils down to: money and tournaments. And hey, man, everybody's out to make their own money and stuff. But are we really thinking about the kids here, dude? Like what good's a 12-year-old going to do at 8:00 in the morning at Granite when it's 37 degrees and he's throwing? Like, really, he's going to go sit in the bench because the opposing pitcher just walked 10 dudes. Like, and then he's going to go out and throw again. Like, you're just setting yourself up for disaster, man. Like, as beneficial as everybody says, oh, you got to play games. No, dude, you're putting yourself at more risk. Now's the time of the season where you're working on your fundamentals. Like, you're trying to get your fielding sharp. You're trying to get the mechanics of your swing down. Not to mention, you're trying to get stronger and build up some strength. So when you get in this long season, which is a marathon, not a sprint, like, you have the strength to get stronger as the year goes, not get weaker as the year goes. And I see it every year with the pitchers, dude. Go out and watch them their first start, 92, 94. Awesome. They'd come back in April and it's 86, 90. Well, that guy didn't do a very good job during the offseason to get himself ready. Plain and simple. Like, velocity should be going this way if you're a high school kid and you're a pitcher.
As the year goes.
Yeah, as the year goes. Like, you shouldn't be going this way. You shouldn't be throwing 100 pitches game one of the year. Man, I'll argue with anybody on that. Like, I don't care how prepared you are in the offseason or how much you build them up.
Well, especially in a day and age where at the high school level, everybody makes the playoffs.
Well, yeah, not only that.
So it's not like it's going to affect you. I mean, I guess the way they structure it's different, but
yeah,
you don't need to blow a kid out just to get the win.
No, and I like, look, man, like, because I go see all the top Northern California arms every single year, and like, it really sticks out when, I'll use a guy like Matt Manning, for example, two-way guy, didn't really pick up a ball much in December, November. That guy started the year out, he's 93, 95 at Buchanan. A month and a half, 6 weeks later, I'm sitting at the game, the dude's 97 and 99, like, and he hadn't thrown a pitch below 98 till the fifth. Like, that's how your arm should be. Jared Horn, 90, 93 at area codes, come back in the spring, it's 94 to 97, like, and he's holding it for 6-7 innings, not blowing out after the first. It's 90, 94, and then 88, 91. Like, these guys don't understand how important it is. Like, you got to give your body time to recuperate, to heal up, to tighten up. And then not only that, but add on additional strength and to where you can have endurance and run the whole marathon and not peter out after mile freaking 13 or 15, dude, and start backtracking. So I see it every year from the high school pitching, dude. Guys blow out early. They're throwing, 80 to 100 pitches, game 2, game 3 of their starts. And by the time they're pitching in the playoffs, they're throwing 84, 85. And everybody looks around wondering why. Well, it's because you just didn't set yourself up right. You didn't do it right. Like,
you didn't build your body for a
and
full
look at
season.
the beginning of the year, man. It's such cold weather, dude. Like, man, especially in those cold weather times, man, hey, set this pitch count low, run them through their innings. Dude, they get in a little bit of a jam. Don't hesitate to jerk them out. It's like you said, everybody wants to go 30-0, man. No, you got to go 4-0. Like, that's it at the end. You got to go 4-0 at the end, not 30-0. Would you rather go, 4-0 at the end and win 20 games and
like
be 20-8?
Those football teams in San Diego that went 0-10.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That's just what I've noticed, man. And
I agree with that.
I'm not trying to say I'm a head coach or.
Well, we're
like,
competitive. We want to win. But you know what you're
right.
also doing that though is you're also gonna give that dude that's on the bubble of being a guy out first out of the pen or potential. Tuesday guy, you're going to give that guy some innings to see if he, can you turn him into that?
Yeah.
And you might hit a diamond in the rough with two of those guys. And now you don't have to abuse the one guy.
Right.
You've just, I figured out. Now I've got 2 or 3 guys.
And it's hard too, because you've got your kids and they're competitive and they're like, no, I want to keep the ball. I feel great. But that's right now in the moment, man. Like, I'm going to need you to feel great your 12th start of the year. Like, not like, damn, dude, you can tell that you're tired.
Yeah, I don't need you at your best right now.
No, man. Like, I just feel like, we jump the gun. Like, we want these guys to be built up, and we want to be able to utilize them for 7 innings right out the gate. And man, just, I don't know, man. Like, just pace them out, especially in the early. And I see it at the collegiate level, man. It happens all the time too. And I'm not going to name any certain particular places or whatnot, but man, one year I went and watched 2 high-profile left-handers throw. and the big boy, who's currently pitching in the big leagues was, he wasn't throwing as hard. They pulled him after 5. The opposing guy was throwing hard, and he went 9 through 110 pitches. And by the end of the year, the little dude fizzled, man, and the big guy just kept getting stronger. And it's like, I see it a lot of places, man. It doesn't just happen at the high school level, and a lot of that's just trusting the player, and you're kind of going with your guy because he's telling you he's okay. But in hindsight, he's probably better to get him out of there.
I was going to ask you too, with scouting now, like how different is your evaluation process considering, I mean, for you, because the way they play baseball on the big league level now, it's not the same. There is no emphasis on controlling the running game. There's just a lot of things that don't take place.
Yeah, but what we're looking for, I guess,
like the tools. You remember how like 5 tools was always a thing growing up? Is that still?
We're still looking for tools.
Because now you could do things okay if the data, if the numbers fit. You may be some dude flying under the radar, but your numbers are stupid as far as what the data shows.
And then like there's a lot of adjustments that go on the collegiate side in particular. Like there's a lot of adjustments that go on. Especially guys that aren't in a Power 5 conference, their stats are calculated into the Power 5 schools and compared that way. There's a lot more predictive stats going on based upon like how hard guys hit balls. There's just a lot more data, like we're able to start really diving in more into like guys' approach, what they swing at, where they're hot. And then from a development standpoint, like we're also trying to pair not only guys that match up analytically, but also like when we're recommending them, like having somewhat of a game plan to like maybe get them on a different level from where they're at, which would provide more value. So essentially we're still looking for the same thing, man. We're looking for guys that potentially have tools to play in the big leagues, and not just the physicality, but the mentalities as well. But, we're just doing a little bit. It's just a little bit different of a process, a lot more analytical information being used. A lot more.
So don't be the guy that when you hear your coach saying, "Hey, you're in the hole." You don't want to be up in the crowd hearing, "Hey, so and so, you're in the hole."
No,
that's probably not a guy.
No.
Or the guys that you see. I mean, maybe there are. Maybe it's just a cultural thing, but like, when I see like the Crocs and like the hat not on quite right and like not so tucked in, like you don't look prepared to practice or play. Like I don't know, like you don't see guys at higher levels to come to the ballpark.
Like I said, man, it's a lot of
like, is that a detail?
Yeah, dude, you're getting scouted from the minute like
from head to toe, from the parking lot to the yard.
We're watching like how you pull into the parking lot if you're driving, dude. You're driving like a jackass. Like I went and watched an arm last year, and I'm sitting there with a buddy of mine who works for the Nationals, and we're just kind of BSing a little bit. And all of a sudden, this little Accord comes tearing in the parking lot, dude. And this guy hops out, and he's got no shirt on. He's putting his jersey on, and his girlfriend leans over, gives him a kiss. He starts telling her what they're going to do later. And we're like looking at each other like, holy shit, is this the kid we're here to see pitch today? And we're like, dude, what is
show
going
and
on?
go,
It's
baby.
like so wild.
Show and go.
And the kid pitched pretty much how he rolled in the parking lot. His whole preparation was exactly how he rolled in the parking lot. It was scattered. It was messed. It was erratic. Dude, we're scouting these dudes, on the professional side. And I'm sorry, scout ball, like, dude, don't show up in Crocs, man. Don't, dude. Like, I want you to look like a ball player. Like, what if we got to run in? What if we got to go get loose in a parking lot somewhere? Or if maybe the infield got too wet, we're taking ground balls in the parking lot or on the concrete slab or something. Like, look like a ball player, man. Like, show up with your stuff tucked in, man. Show up like ready to play. Don't show up in like gym shorts and sloppy and hair's all jacked up, look like you just got up from a nap. And I mean, like, appearance has a lot to do with it, man. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, it might sound, petty or whatnot, but dude, like, look the part. You want to get paid for the part, then look the part, man. Like, especially at the lower levels, man. I just don't think they're getting taught the right stuff. Like, what are they? And I hate always going back to, but the travel ball scene, man. Just show up at Granite, dude. You'll see Crocs everywhere. You'll see bad uniforms everywhere. You'll see guys eye black everywhere. Like, and then when you try to say something, now you're the dude, you're the old man that walked uphill in the snow both ways to school because, oh, that's old. You keep hearing, oh, that's old school. No, man, that's just being a fucking ball player.
Yeah, it
dude.
is.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, look like a ball player. Don't look like the circus clown that does Barnum and Bailey shit, man. Put your eye black on right. It's there for a purpose. Wear your uniform right. that you wear the uniform.
Yeah,
for
it's
a
just
purpose.
the little shit. The details.
Yeah, man, like details, dude. Like, and what separates the big leaguers from the guys that don't get there and stay there? Details. Like, nah, but we just don't look at details. Details aren't important anymore. So,
yeah, I just, it bothers me too. And I think if you're seeing that or if you're looking for that, then
see, but I'm an old school guy. Like, that kind of shit bothers me. No, I'm not just the only scout that feels that way. Trust me, dude. I sit in a big circle of scouts that we just sit there. You know, a lot of times we shake our heads and just, we can't believe how it's gotten this way and how come it's so acceptable that we just kind of look like a boob when you get to the yard. Like, really? Like, come on, man.
No, and I know some people are like, let the kids play or like a little softer or whatever, loose atmosphere. But I don't know. To me, it doesn't look prepared. You don't look ready to go. You don't, I mean, again, showing up late or rushed, just you're going to play that way. So, that's one of those things that I just, and again, if you're seeing it or other scouts are looking at that, I think other college recruiters are looking at the same thing.
Well, a lot of times, man, and I'll say this, like the better pitching prospects that I've gone to watch, and I'll say one of them's name because I adore this kid, like, and I do because of but the Volchko kid from Redwood, and he's a sophomore now. He's not draft eligible, but come next year, that kid's going to go really, really good. But when you got to the yard, that kid was already, dude, he was dialed.
Right.
He was already doing his routine. Kyle Harrison, pitching the big leagues for the Giants. Same thing, man. Got to the yard, was already doing his arm care, already rocking his bands, already getting into his throwing program. Like, very structured, very detailed, like detail-oriented. It wasn't just out, I'm getting loose. Like, there's a purpose to why he was getting loose.
Right.
There's a kid down at named Flora, Jackson Flora from Foothill. That's another kid, like, come next year, that dude's going to go really good. I mean, he's throwing 100 now. Like that kid, when you show up, like, that kid had an awesome routine, man. And then you talk to the kids and they're so dialed in. They're so not worried about what they're going to post on Twitter or what their Instagram page is going to say. Like, they could give two shits about that. They care about, like, what's the job at hand right now? Like, how am I going to get everybody out? How am I going to deal today? It's just a completely different philosophy. Just look at the where we're at. I mean, we got kids leaving colleges to go for, NIL money. Like, it's like a contract. It's absurd.
Professional sports.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of contracts, Soto.
I'm like speechless. Like, listen though, I really think I granted his defense isn't fantastic, but you're looking at a young, extremely offensive player who seems to the guy just keeps getting better. He's younger than the other two guys, when you're looking at Ohtani and Judge. He's quite the specimen. I think he's one of the better hitters in the game personally, and you can throw Judge up there. And I know Ohtani's the MVP. I still think Ohtani's like number 4 on my list, and people are going to hate on me for it, but that's fine. Like, I'm going to take Mookie Betts. I'd take, Aaron Judge.
Well, a lot of the conversation for MVP with Ohtani this last year was, I know Lindor hit, as far as points go, pretty well behind Ohtani. Home runs obviously behind Ohtani, but for a shortstop who plays every day, that was one of the arguments is like Ohtani just hit.
Yeah, and
he didn't have to play defense. So I mean, you don't know how much Lindor had to fight through injury wise all year. Right. Like there's things playing defense that you forget about. Whereas Ohtani, if he had to play defense, maybe he rolls an ankle here. Maybe he doesn't play.
It's not even about that. To me, it's like, okay, how are you helping your team? Like, you're the most valuable player. Well, when your team's out on defense, like, you're not helping your team at all. So how are you? That's my thing. And I know he's stealing bases. Okay, well, the bases are bigger, and there's some limitations to how the pitchers can operate.
Limitations is nice. There is no paying attention to base runners. We got
catchers catching on one.
They don't even throw the ball to second base half the time anymore.
No, I mean, it's just the game's tailored more for some guys to have more success. I mean, God forbid, like, what would have Ricky Henderson have done like, he would have just blew guys away on the bases all day long. He would have just been toying with people. So I think Mookie Betts is a complete player. Aaron Judge is like, come on, man, it's a dog. Like, I don't think if you've got a son, you want your son to be like Aaron Judge in terms of like Not
obviously,
just, not the
Ohtani
player
couldn't really throw this year, but I mean,
No doubt.
because I'm guarantee you he's capable of playing a
No
position.
doubt. When he comes out,
He's a
he'll
freak.
be fine. But
Yes.
like, man, Lindor, if he's 0 for 5, he might make a play in the 6 hole.
He can still win you a game.
Yes, he can still
win you a
win
game
or save you a game. Like Ohtani's 0 for 5. Like, what did he do for you tonight? Like, he didn't do anything. So I just think there's a lot more prestige that goes to that award than just having a really good offensive season. It should be for the overall wholeness of what the player is.
Yeah.
Offense, defense, base running, all of that included. Being a complete player. So that's just me, man. And when you talk about the greatest, did the greatest ever swing and miss as bad as he misses sometimes?
Not really, no.
Like
No.
Barry Bonds never swung and missed that bad.
No, not like that.
No, so
Not falling out of the box a little
correct.
bit.
Like, granted, like, look, man, the dude's extremely talented. I'm not going to sit here and shit on the guy. The guy is extremely talented. But look, man, I think he gets a little bit more favor than some of the other guys, given, he's kind of like a unicorn.
He is. No, I agree with that.
So
I apologize. I apologize for if there's the background noise. There wouldn't be Hit or Die without construction in the background.
100%.
We do what we do here. It was funny too because I'm on more of the mindset with the Soto thing. Like I would rather pay 3 or 4 guys than one guy.
No, I'm kind of with you there, especially if you're,
with what's in the free agent market right now.
Yeah,
I think this is a great year to go spend the money on 3 or 4 guys instead of 765 on one.
I think that's kind of what kind of pulled us out of the market was, I know there was some rumblings and of us being in there and being a buyer. But I think that the longevity of the contract and kind of what he wanted was a little bit too much for us to swallow. I mean, I don't know what the bosses are thinking, but I'm just kind of, throwing some shit off the wall. But, yeah, man, like that's a long deal, man, for him.
Well, they were saying you look at the numbers and I think somebody put up a graphic of like Soto's first 7 seasons in the MLB compared to or through Mike Trout's.
Right.
And Mike Trout had him beat in every category by a decent amount of numbers, even MVPs, and he's got half of what Soto got. And I guess it's whatever somebody's willing to pay them. But the question got asked, like, well, what does a prime Barry Bonds make in this today's markets? It's
$1 billion. Like,
is there?
I mean,
and at what point do we see $1 billion player? If it's not Ohtani,
dude, it's coming.
You
but
think
it's going to be somebody that's probably that nobody's going to feel is of that caliber of $1 billion. Like it's going to be, I don't know. Is it going to be Jackson Merrill when it comes around? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Who's
Paul
like
Skeens?
Paul Skeens, maybe if they, it's the money's gotten ridiculous. And hey,
guy like Gunnar Henderson someday.
Yeah, it's going to be one of these young dudes that's super dynamic. That's going to bring a combination of speed and power that is going to play probably somewhere in the middle of the diamond that can impact the game with the glove. But it's going to be, I would imagine, it's going to be more of a 5-tool type guy than just a 4-tool dude. For the
it's
most
crazy
part.
to think that that's the kind of money that we're talking about it. But I don't know. People are arguing about salary cap, and I don't know if I want to see these owners make any more money. Like I don't mind the players getting paid. I think the deferred money is kind of nuts with the Dodgers loading up on like $1 billion deferred. I don't know if every team can do that. Maybe I don't know. This is probably stupid, but maybe you work on a cap as far as how much you can defer. But then how can you do that? Like you can't force the guys to
the direction we're going to. Like I mean, just do it. How are you going to go take your family to the ballpark, man? When you got to pay some dude $700 million?
Shit.
Like. That hot dog turned into a $25
It
dog.
did. I went to a Dodger
beer.
game this year. Well, thanks to you.
You're going to drop a C-note down and you're going to get a hot dog and a beer, dude. So
get in that ballpark. It ain't cheap. I don't even know if I want to be drafted by the Dodgers anymore.
No, and I'll be honest, man, like for years they keep, everybody keeps saying that the pro game is more dangerous getting into than the college game. But, man, I'd probably take my chances playing pro ball over going to college. I mean, at least I know I'm there for 6 years. Like I can't get in the pro ball portal. But that I'm sure will come along here before long. Disgruntled players want to go play in another organization, but who knows?
Yeah, that's the way of the world now.
And then, dude, you didn't even talk about it. I'm surprised you didn't ask me what I think of this golden bat.
Well, I've got it written down here. We'll finish with that, but because the one was I did on lips, on Watch Your Lips, a doctor with the Rangers talked about just to save elbow injuries and all that, to making a 2-strike foul ball, strike 3.
Like slow pitch softball, dude.
One of my buddies was like, well, what, they're going to make it 3 balls now instead of 4 balls?
Well, and then, I mean, from a hitting perspective, like, dude, what happened to the Stephen Kwan or that guy that can, like, foul shit off and keep getting deep in a pitch count?
I mean,
like,
Ohtani,
hey, here's
essentially,
an idea. How about you don't try to gas every pitch and actually work around the zone? Throw strikes. Like, maybe change speeds, hit a location from time
There
to
was
time.
an at-bat in the playoffs where Ohtani worked like a 9-pitch walk, and he was pumped that he worked. Like, that's a big moment in a game that could sway a team to a win.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're getting a pitcher to throw more like than the average number of pitches he's throwing per hitter, like if you can continue, you go through the lineup 9 hitters, man, and you're getting a guy to go up 2-3 pitches past his pitch limit. You go through the lineup, now he's throwing an additional 18-20 pitches. That's huge, man.
Yeah.
So that's a dumbass idea too. Like that's slow pitch softball. Like that.
Well, that speeds up the game. It may help
That's ridiculous.
reduce pitch counts and arm injuries, and
That's favor to the pitcher.
It's a point in the game where it's becoming non-watchable. It's so commercialized.
We'll give him 4 strikes in. I mean, like, come on, dude. Like, why are they? You know what, man? Some things are made to speed up, and something like if they want to speed
This is
it up,
not basketball.
it's just no. Like the golden bat, like really. So if a guy-
the rule itself is at any point in the game, you can have
anybody hit,
anybody hit.
That's dumb to me. Like that's like, how are you going to justify guys attaining records or breaking records?
Sure.
Like because he's given an additional at bat every night because he's the golden bat.
So I brought up when I was talking to my buddies about it. It was I went to the World Series Game 1. The Yankees walked Mookie Betts to load the bases to face Freddie Freeman.
Right.
Now, if they said, "Hey,
golden bat,
I want to let Mookie hit. I want to put Freddie on free." Well, now Freeman doesn't get that moment.
Just call it what it is. It's a dumbass rule.
Yeah.
Period.
It's a dumb idea.
I don't care. It's a dumb idea. Like it's not baseball. It's like we're gonna start playing with ghost runners too, like imaginary. Like, come on, man! Like they're going to start putting 2 bases at first base, so like slow pitch softball. So come on, like we've taken away collisions, we've taken away
extra innings is different.
The extra innings we're putting runners on now. Like, listen, if you're a baseball fan and you go to a game and it's taking too long for you, then you're not a baseball fan, dude. Just go home. Don't complain about the game being long. Just you don't like baseball. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If you're a baseball fan, you thrive. Like that's free baseball when you play extra innings, dude. Why are we trying to? Speed
Yeah,
it
we
up?
drove
like,
3 hours.
I want to see I want to see some managers make some moves here, like some good double switches. Like we don't even do double switch. Like where'd all the strategy?
Yeah,
go?
you're probably going to see a walk off.
Yeah, like it's extra inning games are so exciting. Yeah, they might take some extra time to do it. It's free baseball. Well, from a player's perspective, you're not getting paid overtime, so you want to get that.
Right. I get you.
But
especially if you got a long flight to the next
it's free
one.
Baseball, man. Like if games are taking too long, then you're just not a baseball fan.
We don't have to change something every single year.
No, like
just to change something.
No, the pitch clock thing. Okay, that's worked out.
It worked out.
It's been working out fine. Like that's cool.
I think we can go back to our normal bases, and I think we need to leave the pick over stuff alone.
You have to be able to control it, man. You can't.
It's part of the strategy of the game. I feel like you have to. They have to pull those off. I think the limitations the picking over needs to go. Personally,
yeah, it's like just let the game be the game, man. Like why do we keep trying to change it? Like it's not broken. Like it's not broken.
Not all change is bad change.
And dude, I think we're also falling into this. Like everybody's into this thing just because something new. It's new. Okay, well, just because it's new, it doesn't mean it's a better. Like whatever happened to having a routine. So you're just going to constantly change your routine because something new comes out. Well, how are you going to have consistency in that routine if you're constantly changing? So I don't know, man. Like it's a kind of a head scratcher to me.
Leave it alone, Manfred. Leave it alone. Fuck alone.
Leave it alone. The game is good.
Bro, I don't know I don't know what the future holds for Hit or Die. I know we've been talking and trying to set this up, and we'll keep doing, try to set up some more. I'm going to get some other friends in here, and, I don't know. Again, I don't know what the future holds for, but it's been this has been good to kind of talk a little ball, get back in the swing of it. I think I'm working on some other guys, so stay tuned. I don't want to commit to I'll see you next week just yet, but I appreciate everybody that's been asking about it. I love that people still miss it or like to listen to it. So go back. There's 200 plus of them. Go start over. Go listen. I think you're the number 2. You're the second episode.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to Labby's first. This is we hit 5 years, so
It's
we're
a lot cleaner than a lot more.
It sounds a lot.
A lot more bleeping going on in that one. Probably.
That's all right. That's all right. But no, I appreciate everybody messaging me or stopping me to talk. I enjoy that stuff. So again, I thank everybody. Appreciate you listening, Lab. I appreciate you jumping on, dude. And obviously, he won't be a stranger to this if we keep going. So just again, thanks everybody for listening. That's the Hit or Die podcast.